well, going into that assumption, I caused most of the arguments. I would say it was half and half, but they kind of got used to blaming me for arguments. At least that's what I felt like growing up. And I don't really feel like that now. In hindsight, I was a bit of an asshole. I used to watch my brothers play video games. I wouldn't play much. They would rather play themselves than let me play, which I understand. And then I'd play sports with them. I was very aggressive, and my favorite sport was football or soccer, and I would kick people and foul them. I wasn't pleasant to play against. So I'm sorry. That was pretty much my childhood. My most fondest memory of my childhood that I can recall is me getting a bicycle along with my brother and sister for our birthday. And being a triplet, you share a lot of the same stuff. Now, thankfully, I didn't have to share with my sister's clothes. I shared clothes with my brother, even underwear and socks. We had shepherd's pie for dinner, bacon and cabbage. I remember having club bars every day going to school, and I hate to this very day. My life wasn't difficult and it wasn't easy. I would say it was just a normal life. When I went to the age of 12, I was never ever as happy as I was when I went into high school, because I loathed my first school I went to. I couldn't hate it more if I tried at the time. When I went into high school, everything was great. It was amazing. I was making new friends, and some of them weren't good friends, and some of them were good friends. But what I noticed with myself over the next coming years, I was quite bright, but I did very little work. That's kind of how I was told of myself, and honestly how I perceive myself. I'm a lazy person, and I think it's my biggest flaw is that I'm too easily comfortable with being comfortable. My grades started to get worse and worse throughout high school when there were always A's before it, and mainly due to because you get more work in high school, so you actually have to do work to keep up. And over the next 3 years, I did become more interested in girls, as biology would, indicate. But unfortunately, alongside that, I was still incredibly socially awkward, and I'm not very good at talking to girls. I'm just not at all. Even if I try, especially if I try. But I tried to fit in more, a lot more, and because of that, I actually became I guess, quote unquote, funny guy that would do things that were, against the rules, but not too much, not illegal, just school rules. So I was getting in more and more trouble with teachers and rubbing them the wrong way. Not that there's a good way to rub any teacher. And when I think now of back then, I kind of realized I was still an asshole. It took me a lot of time alone to kind of reflect on myself and realize that because I felt bullied growing up, and I was bullied by the popular kids, that's usually how it works. When I became popular, I also became a bully, and it was quite ironic. Now, I thankfully, I stepped out of that sooner than later. It just shows you how, how life is, and you gotta be careful. That's my only advice there. And with the last 3 years of my second school, it got more and more difficult. Eventually, it became a super stressful cesspool of exams and homework. Really, I wasn't getting along with people as much as I used to. I was going back into my comfort zone of staying away from people, and also video games were huge for me, always growing up. I know I haven't mentioned it much, but it's always there. I went through depression. I definitely think it was a personal depression. I can't compare it to anyone else's because, again, to each their own individuality. But I went through my own personal depression for a couple of years, and I didn't get out of it until I got out of school. And I also didn't get a place in college when I got out of school, so I had nothing to do for a year. I literally had nothing except figure out what to do with my life. And I didn't even do that. What I did decide to do was play video games all day and all night and never leave my room, and I would suggest against that. It worked out for me, but I think I could have done things a lot better. So with this late night gaming, I was playing Call of Duty with a lot of American people, and one of them had their own YouTube channel. I checked it out and I instantly loved the idea, and I had to do it. And from that moment on, I was thinking about how to start, researching, Googling a lot, YouTubing a lot, and really just saving up until I could get the equipment, which I did 6 months later, and I began my YouTube channel in February of 2012. That was probably the biggest and best decision I ever made. It's unreal. I can't believe it's a thing because of growing up, of course. I don't consider myself much of a person in terms of interest or anything like that. I don't hold myself in high esteem. YouTube does that to me right now, and it's very, very perplexing, and it rattles my brain, but I just try and go along with it, go with the flow. That's really all I'm doing. So the next 3 years of my life were probably the biggest changes in my life. I finally got close to a girl that liked me back, but there were difficulties with her in terms of like who she was and where she was in life, and that eventually didn't work out in quite a sad way, I would say. Not any way you ever want the first person you're closest to end. That is something that took me a long while to get over. I took that into the next relationship, and that one was even more terrible. It was awful, and it just showed me that really there's a lot to work on for myself, and in terms of like choosing who to be with. And these were all long distance relationships as well, which made things even more difficult, especially since YouTube was quite low. I wasn't like I am now, and I didn't have much money, so I couldn't even visit them. It was tough for sure, and that one ended as well. It's kind of funny how this period of my life I associate with relationships. But in the next one, it was great. I have many fond memories, as I do for all of them. But this one ended with a really good friend in my life, and that is more than I could ever ask for. Someone that knows me very well, get on very well as friends, and we both mutually saw that and agreed on that. It was her who saw it first, because I'm the one that clings on a bit too much, and I've got to work on that. I'm very happy. I think it ended as good as a relationship can ever end. We did have our space away from each other, and that's important too. You know, sometimes you don't have to push for that relationship. Friendship is a great thing too. Just someone there for you when you need them or want them or to hang out. After that, I wasn't really fussed about relationships. The next relationship was with someone I consider right now perfect. They are really, really, really good. Again, it's long distance, and that does have its, tough things to bear. We're happy with where we are, and we're happy with whatever progress we make. We keep positive, and I think that's very, very important in long distance or in any relationship. We communicate very well. I learned how to communicate and how not to communicate and how to think and let other people talk. I'm still working on that. I'm the talker of the relationship, and I think that's in many relationships in which one is the talker more than the listener. But I am learning to listen better. That's my life. It is a string of relationships. Relationship with my peers, relationship with friends that I didn't have or did have or wanted to have, and relationships that I did not have or wanted to have and did have. So for me, saying this story, I realize how important it is to surround yourself with the people that encourage you positively and become someone who can depend on themselves and also have those he can or her can depend on. And that's it. I'm here right now doing this recording, sitting in my chair, talking into a microphone like I do in many of my videos, and somehow all of you find that entertaining. I'm baffled, I'm very flattered, I'm every emotion that makes a girl blush. So thank you to all of you and all those who have made me who I am and made my life how it is. Life is gonna be tough for everyone in their own way. Some make it harder for themselves, some make it harder for...
Daddy and Terrorism.
Hello, I'm Terrorizer. Went to Old Town and bought some Mexican candy. I don't even know